Before we get into the review here, I should note that part of my day job requires me working with a tool called Magento, and I keep saying Magento instead of magenta when I'm talking about colors, so sorry. Targetmaster Hot Rodimus. It's the same mold that we got before, but in a color scheme supposed to match the way he appeared in the Rebirth, explicitly. And they did some odd things there. I believe it was that Acon studio. You'll notice that what was supposed to be in shadow, they actually took as color and painted things differently. On the whole, I dig the color scheme, but it's got some issues that are probably worth talking about. For one, the pelvis is burgundy with the white stripe, which is how it was, but then the rest of the car has the more purple look. And then you get into the plastic purple, which is yet a different shade. And it all tends to kind of clash a little more than I would like. As well as the legs on the stripe on the front. At the knee itself, there's a line of black there, which, you know, at first I thought I had rubbed it off even though I had just opened it. But no, that's just kind of how the paint is broke up on the two pieces. There is some paint chipping, however, on the knee for mine. And in general, the paint on the legs looks kind of scuffed or scratched a bit. Like I kind of see some light marks. It's not all the way through, but I just opened it and it was immediately that way. And something you're going to see me talk about more in car mode is the chrome for like the arms. Where it broke off the sprue, they're not silver, they are orange underneath, and you can easily see that. Other than that though, he still has a lot of paint on him. You can easily tell what's painted, not just because it's kind of a different color. It tabs together well, it sits solid. The burgundy is also on his head, which has kind of both the burgundy and the purple color on it, which helps kind of bring the mold together, because again, it does have a bit of a clash of colors. As you can see here, he holds both of his weapons well. The remolds on the Targetmaster there work well. It sits in his hand nice and secure. Everything tabs together well. Doesn't feel like there's been any mold degradation or any of that sometimes you get. At the same point, I don't think there's been any mold improvements, but I'm not really sure what issues there might have been with the original release because I never bought it. The only version of this I have is actually a knockoff because I was so unhappy with how this mold looked. I've felt it's the weakest Masterpiece mold they've done so far. And not that it's not a fun toy, because it actually is fun. It's a pretty fun toy to transform back and forth. But I feel that they sacrificed a lot to give the Matrix gimmick in here with the long chest. Matrix that he doesn't even come with. Now compared to the original, aside from the lack of accessories and some different colors, again you'll notice that the shins are painted and the top of the feet are painted, and the logo on the front is different. It's a much larger logo to kind of emulate that hand-drawn style. The spoilers on the back, the new one is a solid color instead of the two-tone color, and you can see the vents on the back are painted a different color. Now in car mode, he looks sharp. I really do like the colors on here, even kind of as odd as the history on them are. You know, he's got that dark magenta, burgundy, I don't know, whatever. It's a dark color. It's kind of like, you know, cross between pink and purple or whatever that sometimes he appeared in some frames of the show, especially, you know, in the Rebirth series. Got the nice big logo there present on the chest, which looks really cool. Well, I think this color scheme pops, and I really dig it. It does have some issues. Biggest is probably that on the sprues where the chrome pieces are, they're orange underneath. The paint did not go back over them. Getting it in there is a little bit of a pain and not really worth it, to be honest. But you can do it. Since I don't have the original to compare with, all I have is my knockoff, which I'll probably honestly keep just for all the extra accessories since it comes with them. Where the sprues were cut on the knockoff isn't great, but it's actually still better than the official Masterpiece, so that's kind of interesting. And here in car mode again, just like the original release, where the car is painted doesn't match the actual plastic itself. You can see the plastic, you can really tell under here, is much more purple, whereas the paint itself has more of a reddish tone. I mean, just looking at it, it's still very purple, very burgundy, magento, whatever. I'm starting to think I'm colorblind. But it really sticks out there, here in car here, and as well where some of the tabs poke through, which annoyed me on the original release of this guy too. Now his Targetmaster comes with, it's pretty cool. It's nothing amazing, but it's nice. It's a repaint of the Targetmaster that came with a Hasbro release of MP-09, which I actually happen to have. I don't have MP-09 from Hasbro, I have the Takara version, but I had bought this from a friend that was selling it separately for some reason a billion years ago. But see, the deco is completely different. The Hasbro release having some accents on the toes and on the knees, and of course the guns painted on the back, some accents on the chest, and the eyes painted, whereas the new version has the eyes are painted, there's nothing on the chest. Then the guns and the legs are completely painted, but just in this flat gray, which I'm sure is cartoon accurate if I bothered to look it up, and I'm not going to. Other than that, it has some remolds in the back. These two pieces here are different than they were in the Hasbro release. Other than that, they are the same. And to be honest, I mean, again, I'm always happy to get a Targetmaster, but like a lot of them, it's not that great. It doesn't transform that well. It's not super intuitive for as small as it is. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's Targetmaster. One thing I found interesting is that his only other accessory is the gun, and it is completely painted. Well, I guess the handle isn't, the piece inside, where it flips down to 2 parts. Other than that, it's the same as came with the original release. But yeah, it is completely painted in a purple, or whatever the hell that matches the car itself. And the original release of this mold also came with a different gun that is not included. Cool Fish is not included, and of course his blade saw that is not included. Dumbest gimmicks for a Hot Rod figure, Matrix. Rodimus Prime makes sense, but it's Hot Rod. Why would you give him a Matrix? Yeah, he doesn't have that either. All you're gonna get with him is a Targetmaster and the one weapon. So I'll probably just hold on to my knockoff. I feel like I talk about knockoffs all the time on this channel, but like, only have a couple. They just keep managing to find their way to the videos. So overall, what do I think about this release? It's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, if you didn't like the mold to begin with, you're not gonna like this one either. It doesn't do anything to change that. It still is what it is. If you've never gotten the Targetmaster before, it's a chance to get that again, which can be nice. It's a shame that they didn't throw in all the other accessories, especially given that it's just a repaint, you know, so that's kind of feels like a cheap move almost. Kind of an odd release, kind of a quirky release to go off a specific way it was colored on just a few episodes. But you know, hey, cartoon accuracy, right? Even though I'm like the guy that always harps about that, you know, I understand that it's kind of tough to get sometimes. The difference in colors in here is kind of throwing me off a bit. I love that it has all kinds of paint on it still, like modern day masterpieces do. But again, just the different colors, how it's burgundy and magenta, and then a different purple here. Things that bothered me with the original release, and they still bother me now. So it's not bad. You know, if it's something that's in your wheelhouse, you know, you can pick it up. But I don't feel it's like I'm up for a masterpiece collection. I'm happy to get it. I didn't want the knockoff in my collection. I'll probably end up keeping it just to keep the accessories, to be honest, at this point. I mean, the knockoffs are cheap. So I'm glad I bought a non-knockoff to replace my other one, and it's something different, which I think adds some variety to the collection, which is nice, but it's still kind of the weakest masterpiece mold that we have. That being said, I'm one of the guys that like tracks, so, you know, maybe my opinion doesn't mean too much. See you in the next one.